All right, lesson 2.2, quality ratings. Now, I know we just went through all those building materials and different things and this and that and this and that. And well, this is where it gets fun. When you master that, or like I said, you didn't have to master, but when you get proficient enough to understand what you need to look for, you've already done your home types, you've done everything from lesson 1, we start getting the quality ratings. This is where we really get to affect the value of your home. This is where everything's cumulative, right? Everything is like everything you've learned up to this point is going to help you right here. And if you don't get this right, if you guess wrong, right, and you shouldn't be guessing, but if you make an inference wrong on quality rating, it could affect your price by tens of thousands, if not more. So my name is Tyler Scott. This is Scott Family Real Estate with DIY Home Valuation Mastery, course 2.2. And let's get right into quality ratings. All right, for our agenda, we have the quality rating scale, the Q1 definition and example, all the way through Q6, how to apply the quality rating scale, and then the conclusion. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but this Q scale is used by every appraiser and so forth, every home valuator. Quality rating scale, Q1, highest and best quality of home. Best of the best. All right, it is best of the best, right? Nothing on the market, should be able to beat out this home. You could have comparables, but you're never going to have better than Q1. Q2, high quality home and typically custom to owner's desires. Q3, great quality home with upgrades and well structured, above the average standard construction. Q4, good quality home with standard construction finishes. This is the most homes fall into this category. All right, Q5, structural or interior damages, needs updates, and is considered livable. Q6, considered in most cases uninhabitable and often categorized as condemned or close to structures. Let's take a look what these look like. Quality 1 rating. All right, take a look at the house here. It has state-of-the-art technological advances. You've got architectural designing that probably cost you $250,000 just in architectural planning, right? I mean, this is beautiful, right? If not more. This is a beautiful, every detail brought down to, down to the pencil mark was done correctly on this. The materials used, state of the art, the finest materials, the finest structure, the finest flow. That's what it is. So K1 dwelling is the best of the best. The interior and exterior materials and finishes are top quality with lots of imported materials and high quality ornamentation. Items like mahogany flooring and woodwork, imported tile, multiple style custom kitchens and bathrooms would be indicative of a Q1 dwelling. This is the kind of stuff where you, like, for example, if you ever look up, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had his home where he had, and Shaq had one too, where his indoor basketball court had Michael Jordan in the middle of it with all of his stuff. That's custom. That's Q1. That's a $12-15 million home, if not more. Right? These are, you're not going to see anything else like them. Most markets are not going to have Q1 homes. They're just not. So understand the difference here. This is where it's a slight difference. Moving on. Very, very slight difference here, the quality 2 rating. You're looking at this and going, well, that's really still a big, nice home too, but notice the difference. The other one was architecturally well done, best of the best. This one, very nice home, very high quality home, right? It's still a high quality house. This type of house is typically custom designed for owner's site, but could be found in a high quality tract development. Good quality trim and woodwork, hardwood and tile flooring, custom designed kitchens and bathrooms, masonry exterior, etc. would be the hallmarks of a Q2 house. Now, remember what it said, imported things. You're not going to have in a Q2 home, the chandelier was made in the Greek Isles and imported in here. Oh, and then you have this marble was brought in from, somewhere in Russia. You're not going to have that. That's Q1 homes. You're not going to have that here. Quality 2 is the best of the best of domestic, of the domestic quality, the domestic construction materials. So it's really great. It's really nice. You can see that's still a fantastic home, but is it architecturally beautiful? Is it aesthetic? Yeah, it's still a beautiful home, but it's not a state-of-the-art home. All right. Q2s, you might find them. There's typically going to be $1 million+ homes, easy, right? The land they sit on are typically going to be pretty great. You're not going to find them in a street packed with other homes, right? You're going to usually find these types of homes with some acreage around them, with some privacy around them, with some unique with some unique features around them. But no, understand the difference between quality 2 and quality 1. Quality 3 rating. All right, now you're looking at this one. You're seeing some vinyl. You're seeing some vinyl stone mixture. You're seeing some high peaks here. You're seeing above the garage, you got a 3-car garage. You probably got a 2-car driveway. You've got what looks like to be a living space above the garage. So they're utilizing a lot of their space. Architecturally, it looks very well done. Higher quality. A Q3 home is still good quality with exterior ornamentation, upgraded interior features. Although not as consistently high as Q2, perhaps the kitchen is semi-custom, or the exterior siding is mostly vinyl with very little masonry, like you see here. Mostly vinyl with some masonry. Masonry meaning stone, brick, things of that nature. So you have that mixture. Interior flooring might be a good mixture of ceramic tile and mid-grade carpeting, but it's still above stock quality or builder grade material. All right, so Q3 is pretty nice. That's what you're going to see in most upper end neighborhoods is Q3 homes, similar to this or similar to others. Mind you, every home is different. So when you look at this picture, you don't take this picture and be like, oh, it's a Q3 home. It's not how you do these. So we'll work on that. Q4 rating. All right, so the Q4, all right, this is a standard builder grade house. As you can see here, it could be a 2-story. Doesn't have to be a ranch like this one is. The dwelling meets or exceeds code requirements. And the standard building plan includes a quality of materials that is similar to what can be purchased at a local big box home center. There might be some simple upgrades like tiled shower stall, ceramic backlash, or quartz countertops in the kitchen, or the exterior may have more ornamentation. Now notice on this one's fully brick. Yeah, it's a fully brick style home, at least that's what I can see from here. And what you have here is that it's a simple lot. Look at the difference in the peaks. The peaks are more outward, right, than the Q3 is. So you don't have the high peaks, so you don't probably have the high ceilings. You have standard window finishes. You have a 1 to 2 car driveway with a 2-car garage here, and that's built in. It looks like potentially a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It doesn't have. It's got a telephone wire coming out on the back. I mean, it's a new construction, so it's typically what you're seeing a lot. Builder grade house. It's standard features. Okay, and we'll look into that in a second. Standard features. That's all you need to know for Q4. But the difference between Q3 and Q4 could be $20,000 to $40,000, right, on the market. That's going to be your biggest difference. Most homes are going to be either Q3 or Q4. All right. And you'll see why, because those are the biggest difference in value, biggest difference in market. Q1, Q2, similar. If you have a Q1 in markets, you're going to have other Q1s. If you have a Q2, you're going to have other Q2s. If you don't have any Q1s, you're not going to have any Q1. What I mean is, like, if you have a random Q1, that's not going to happen. You're not going to have a random Q1. You're going to have one Q1 with some others somewhere nearby, within a couple miles or something, right? If you're going to have a Q2, you're also going to have other Q2s. You're not just going to have one random Q2. With Q3s, you're going to have entire neighborhoods full of Q3s. Q4s, you're going to have entire half of residents, half of neighborhoods, entire neighborhoods. Q4s, right, and Q3s. They could mix, right? So these are going to be your biggest difference makers right here. Quality 5 ratings. Now, these are obvious. You see that big drop, from Q4 to Q5. Very rarely do I ever give a Q5 rating. These houses meet building codes and are livable dwellings. They are not substandard or defective in any way and meet basic needs for housing with low-cost carpet, vinyl flooring, painted wood or veneer cabinets, basic fixtures, laminate countertops, fiberglass or plastic tub or shower units. They're defined by economy of construction and basic functionality. Now I use this one here to show a little bit of drasticness. Now there's some damage to this home. Now if it was met all building codes and livable and it was standard, that's Q4. This is a little bit below standard. All right, Q5 is below standard, significantly below standard at times. Now, I know what I just read. It's low-cost carpet. That means it's barely even carpet. It's probably damage to the carpet. Vinyl flooring, probably damage to this vinyl flooring. Painted wood or veneer cabinets, basic fixtures, probably a lot of damage, not kept up. You know, look at the structure of this home. Is it not structurally sound? Doesn't appear to be. Appears to be structurally sound. Right? I don't see any major issues. You could live in it. Looks like none of the windows are blown out. Yeah, some of the siding's off, but it's functional, right? It is functional. You could move someone in there and they could live in there without necessarily, depending on how bad it is, the danger of what's in there. There's probably no danger, just living in it. Might be just old, right? So, or just not taken care of. Maybe the condition rating is a bit lower, and we'll talk about that next. But there's a different thing here. So what I would say is that's a Q5. That's an obvious Q5. Obvious, yeah. And why is it not a Q6? Well, let's get into that. Because Q6 is pretty much unlivable. These are the lowest quality structures. Some might not be even suitable for year-round habitation, meaning when it gets cold, you can't live in there. When it gets too hot, you can't live in there. Maybe there's a lot of dangers. Not all Q6 dwellings can be characterized as shacks, but a shack would likely be rated as a Q6. Many of these dwellings were constructed prior to the advent of building codes. Some were constructed by the property owner, i.e. not a professional contractor. Like Q1 dwellings, Q6 dwellings do not exist in every market. Right? Like I said before, Q1s don't exist in every market. Neither do Q2s for the most part. Q6s don't exist in most markets because Q6s are essentially condemned or should be condemned homes. It's not livable. It's not safe to live in there. And the Q6 quality rating usually comes with a Q6 condition rating, and they're just not good overall homes at all, and you'll see the difference. But anyway, let's move forward. How to apply a Q rating part 1. So we're going to do an example here. We're going to work it out together, and I want you to pay attention because this is going to be big for us. All right, you have a subject property to the right. Kind of looks like the Amityville Horror House now that I'm looking at it. You have completed an in-person or virtual inspection and have determined the home is of slightly above factory grade condition, meaning the majority of the house is factory grade, but there are some slight upgrades in, for example, the master bath and kitchen. You have a comparable property to the right. You have completed an in-person or virtual inspection and have determined the home is above factory grade condition, meaning the majority of the house is above factory grade, but there are some slight standard features in, for example, the basement, bath, and living spaces. All right, so subject property built in 1935, standard, fireplace, common bathrooms, all living spaces, dining room, no garage, no sunroom, attic, and basement. Those are all standard living areas, right? And maybe there's no unique features here that we'll talk about later. But there is an upgraded bathroom, there's a master bath, there's an upgraded kitchen. So there are some upgrades. That's going to be a Q4 because the majority of the property is standard. It meets or barely exceeds standard living codes. It could be a condition rating is something different, but let's just say it's in standard place there, and it's majority standard, so it's a Q4 rating. Your comparable property, however, is built in 2017. It's a standard fireplace, standard basement bath, standard living room, family room, and basement common area. It has upgraded bathrooms all throughout the house, except for the basement, of course. The upgraded master bath, upgraded common first floor bath, common kitchen or upgraded kitchen, upgraded dining room, upgraded garage, upgraded sunroom. So what you see is a lot more upgrades than it typically would have on the other one. So because I'm seeing more upgrades here, even though it's closer, right? So you have a standard fireplace, but fireplace doesn't really go into the quality of home most times. But I do have it there. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Upgraded items over the 5 standard build items that I use as comparable, because I use a fireplace in this scenario. Because you might say, hey, homes with fireplaces are selling per ones with not, right? And these are those comparable adjustments we'll talk about in another lesson. But let's say Q4, Q3, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? Well, that comparable property might be very similar in a lot of ways, but because the comparable is it's a Q3 rating, you gave it a Q3 rating, and your subject property is a Q4 rating. If I'm a buyer, am I willing to pay more for a Q4 or a Q3? Right? The obvious answer is Q3. I'm going to be willing to pay more for a Q3. And so you take that comparable property, Q3, and you're looking at, and you compare it with only other Q3 properties and see the difference between your subject Q4 and your subject Q3s. And then you find the proper adjustment. Now we'll do that later, right? However, what you need to look at here is you need to understand first and foremost how to create a quality rating. And this is how you've done it. We've done it together. It's simple. But you can't create a quality rating without first knowing all the material that we had to get here and thus understanding this. But we'll move forward. Conclusion, you've just learned what a quality rating is, the scale in which it's used, and how to apply it. Thanks. Special thanks to McKissick, the appraisal school, and for being a source for for quality rating definitions. They are not a sponsor. I'm just giving them a specific shout out here because I did use their definitions for quality. They're public definitions. They post this publicly on their website. I'm not using any of their paid for material that you would have to pay for as an appraiser. But I did want to give them a particular shout out. If you want to become an appraiser, I highly recommend McKissick Learning. I don't have a link. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. I didn't talk to them. I'm not an influencer for them. But I genuinely feel that they did a really good job when I went through my appraisal training, and I did a good job. Now, obviously, a lot of my experience, they didn't teach a lot of the experience portions of how to be an appraiser or how to do those things, but that's why you have experience mixed with schooling. But other than that, my name is Tyler Scott. This is Scott Family Real Estate with the DIY Home Valuation School or Home Valuation Mastery School. And thank you so much. I'll see you at lesson 2.3.